Jeff Eisenband here for the postgame at the NBA store, Fanatics Experience, here with Basketball Hall of Famer in a sweet jacket here, like Bernard King. I love that jacket.
Yeah, it's a New York Knicks jacket. I decided to wear it in honor of the Knicks here today. They're playing well, and I'm glad to be here at the NBA store with you, and excited about my book being out, Game Face.
Now, one thing that I'm interested to read about, I'm from New York, but realizing how someone from Fort Greene, Brooklyn could end up all of a sudden in Knoxville, Tennessee in the 1970s. I mean, obviously there's a long story for that. Stu Aberdeen is a name that we must mention. You know, how did you end up going from Brooklyn to the South in the 1970s?
Well, I had a transition period there from junior high school to high school and going to high school in Bay Ridge. It was the era of integration. And so going south wasn't anything that I had any trepidation about, although there was a racial climate in this country at that time that was upheaval more than anything else. But Ernie Grunfeld, who played high school ball in New York City, was at Tennessee. He had excelled his freshman year. And so I thought this Jewish guy and black guy, we could set the world on fire playing basketball in the South at Tennessee. And we were able to do that, and we had tremendous chemistry. Great place to play at the university. It was an excellent school. You know what, though, really? They promised me I would start. I didn't believe them.
You were pretty good that first year, so.
Well, I didn't believe that I would start. But then after my first game, when I scored 42 points at 17 years old, yeah, I thought I was going to start at that point. So from that point forward, I built my career and continued to practice and develop my skill sets.
You mentioned the culture shock. I mean, Tennessee is, a little further south than, say, New Jersey. You've spoken about it before, but what was that like going to an SEC school in the 1970s off the court? I believe you were the third African-American player to play for Tennessee at the time. What was that experience like?
Well, the culture shock was part of the reality of the fabric of living in the United States, not just at Tennessee or at the University of Tennessee. The biggest shock was in the classroom, realizing that I wasn't prepared for a higher learning institution. And that's really was the shocking part, that I realized I had an inferior education. And that was really something that was really difficult to handle at 17 years old and to deal with. And then certainly there was other challenges that were racial challenges, but I faced them, and I never allowed adversity to define who I am, although it's a learning experience and I built from it. But I'm a very strong person, and I always deal with adversity in that way.
You mentioned playing with Ernie.
Yeah.
What sort of success, when you guys clicked, I mean, you talk about how you guys were close off the court, both being from New York, but what clicked on the court?
Well, what clicked on the court is we had tremendous basketball IQ. And we developed that playing on the playgrounds of New York City in terms of the blacktops. We learned how to play the game within the game, and there is a game within the game. And you have to really understand the intricacies of basketball if you expect to exceed and excel at the highest level, which we did. And because of that, we formed a tremendous chemistry. And when you have chemistry as two elite players, you don't have to look to see where that player is. You know where he is. I can go like this and make that pass over there, and I know he's going to catch it without even looking, even though I have peripheral vision.